know about that?
What you know about that, Rampage?
What you know about that?
What? Come on. Hey. Gangstarr has got to be the short shot. Nice and smooth has got to be the short shot. Come on now. Back on the Last Day Radio Network. Sometimes I rap for Ray.
I thought you was about to get it in.
Me. But you're a real multi-platinum hip-hop artist.
Listen, that's classic right there.
If my bars are up to Rampage's...
your bars is way up, brother.
Up to see, there you go, Ray.
Your bars is way up.
Hater.
You play this.
It's official.
Don't pump his head
it's
up.
Official.
Do not pump his head up.
Buster, if you're listening, if you need another member of the Flip Mode Squad, I'm available. I got bars.
Cousin,
I can hit you with a 4.
Bars is up.
I got 4 bars for you. Not a whole album.
Let's give him 4.5. Let's give him 4.5.
We're going to cut to my man calling in from Dayton, Ohio, Eagles fan, Mr. Rubicon, also known as Jeremy Winston, a very consistent contributor to the Lance Day Radio Network. What's going on, Jeremy? I know that you're excited, but I know your blood pressure's got to be 200 over 120.
Yo,
what's up, man?
A great NICE.
All right. I didn't know.
I thought you were going to let the song play. Anyway, no, it's all good. Listen, I'm still celebrating our Eagles win. Come on now. And listen, and I'm glad you got me on. I wanted to bring a little bit of sanity to this conversation. I mean, you got you claiming that the Colts are the best team in the NFL, and you all are forgetting that Eagles. Now, let me just say, we got out this with the squeaker. We should have lost this game, no question about it. But remember, we had 2 interceptions.
You almost lost to Atlanta last year.
Well, not quite like this. Not quite like this. This was different. I mean, we didn't have two turnovers to Atlanta when we beat them in the second round. And it wasn't a field goal that they missed. They had to score a touchdown, and it went right through Julio Jones's hands. But this one is different because, and I feel good about where we are because we really should have been dominating that game because both of those turnovers came when we were driving, and both of those turnovers were decisions that Nick Foles does not usually make. And even if you give us just 2 field goals out of those 2 turnovers, we put that game out of reach. If you get up to the touchdown and the field goal, it's pretty much a blowout. And so, even though we eked out a win and we should not have won, the reality is I still feel that we played a better strategic game than Chicago, but we just made some knucklehead plays. And Chicago just didn't make as many mistakes. But strategically and just in terms of how we were moving the ball, and take those 2 mistakes away, I feel very good about it. And also I take issue with the fact that they say Nick Foles is not an elite quarterback. I mean, what do you got to do? I mean, really, what do you got to do? I mean, we're talking about, this is a Super Bowl MVP. This is not Trent Dilfer, right?
Agree.
Trent Dilfer who goes to the Super Bowl and on the backs of his defense. I mean, we know he's not an elite quarterback. This dude is an MVP quarterback and has been winning these games in the playoffs consistently. What does he need to do to say he's not an elite quarterback?
Nick Foles, I'm going to jump in. Nick Foles is not an elite quarterback. I think that he's a very clutch quarterback. It's kind of the Robert Horry of football, in my opinion. I mean, he might lead the Eagles. I think that the Eagles-Saints game is going to be really, really good. The Saints beat the Eagles so badly. You have to think with Alshon Jeffrey being healthy, with the Eagles having a little bit better of a play-calling schematics right now, they're going to be hungry. They're going to want to go into New Orleans. The other thing about New Orleans, it's a difficult place to play because of the noise, but it is on a dome and it is on turf, so you don't have weather. It's going to be an open field. So it's going to be a very interesting game. But I wouldn't say that Nick Foles is elite. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're Jonestown.
No,
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Rampage.
Can I really say something? So I told Lance, I think the Eagles is going to take it all. The squad is not. It's the way. See. And the reason why I think they're gonna take it all because you said it earlier. They're hungry.
Yes.
Yeah, we can make
That's true.
We can make some bad plays, but we also can make some good plays. We got to give Foles his credit where credit is due. He's there. He got relationships. A lot of these new dudes playing with all these teams don't have relationships with the quarterback. If you don't got no relationship with your quarterback, you can't vibe with him, y'all not going to win. They winning over there.
Yeah, and and even after the 2 interceptions, I mean, you see how clutch that throw was on 4th down,
right,
on 4th and 2 from the goal line. I mean,
it was amazing.
Many quarterbacks lose their head in those situations. They start running around.
Right.
They start trying to make plays, extend the plays, and do this. He stood there. He threw the same play that was the same pass just 2 downs ago. And he had one place to put it. He put it right there. I mean, you can't forget, man. Nick Foles is the guy who called Philly special on 4th down from the same place in the Super Bowl, where he had to catch the ball. I'm saying that those aren't decisions that are made by chumps.
Right.
Simmer down. There's
you
a
know
difference.
what? He's in his zone.
In his zone. There's a difference between clutch. There's a difference between clutch and elite. Patrick McGoat is elite. Nick Foles is clutch. I think that because we only have a couple seconds for the break, Jeremy.
But what happened if they win with him then?
Well, we'll find out. If they win 2 Super Bowls,
would your opinion change?
If they win a second Super Bowl with him, then he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, perhaps a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. If you have 2 rings, then not only are you elite, but you're in the Hall of Fame conversation. Eli's in the Hall of Fame conversation just because he has 2 Super Bowl wins over the Patriots.
Right.
Outside of those two wins, he's a very mediocre to bad quarterback over the last 8 years of his career. So
there's a reason why Nick Foles has his nickname. I'm not going to say it because I don't know what kind of radio
you can't say that.
But you know the nickname. There's a reason why.
Yeah. Well, before we go, do you honestly think that you could beat the Saints, Jeremy? Yes or no?
No, I think we can. It is going to be a hard game. I'll be honest. It's going to be a hard game.
You're going to have to play. You're going to have to play a lot of cover 2 and a lot of cover 1.
You don't think so?
And a lot of zone. If you go in there with that wide 9 stuff and that man to man, it's going to be oogly. It's going to be oogly.
It ain't ugly. It's oogly.
If Nick Foles can play a better game and not turn over the ball, we can win.
Nick Foles is in the zone. That's all I got to say.
We'll be back with more of the Lance J Radio Network.
Yeah.
After these messages, NBC Sports Radio.
Yep.